Relax, it's airsoft. Anyways, this is the part where the intro starts, so enjoy the video, guys.
The head of the snake is the financial system. The whole point of finance is to indebt. So when you get a mortgage, you have a death grip held over you because you are in debt. You don't even own the house. The bank owns the house that loans you the money to buy the house, unless you're fortunate enough to have all the money to buy it outright. And even then, you can be taxed by the government, and if you fail to keep up with those taxes, the government can then take it from you. The whole system is based on a financial fraud, which effectively takes the power that we have and it gives it to a tiny group of individuals who are running the world through the control of finance. With the infinite supply of money that we have allowed them to take, they have literally an infinite supply of money, and with that money, and from their psychopathic point of view, they have bought everything and everyone who can be bought. So those of us who cannot be bought, because we operate on a level that goes way beyond the material, we are not rewarded for such behavior, we are punished. And the most slovenly, disgustingly criminal, pedophilia, corrupt moral individuals, those are the ones that are rewarded.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Hey there, guys. My name's Isaac Telford. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to explain how men, much like myself, can be very, very dangerous. Now, how am I, Isaac Telford, so dangerous? Well, let me explain to you. Men who have influence or attempt to exert influence, much like myself, oftentimes are good at displaying the devil's acrobatics. While displaying the devil's acrobatics, we can blind the crowd to the blessings in which God has put before us. Blessings like the ability for you to be able to even watch this video, for me to be able to stand on this beautiful hill. Because the blessing that God has bestowed upon me to be able to wake up today, even though I'm a sinner, is much greater than any evil or inconvenient thing that the devil puts before you. So with that being said, we're going to go to my nice little whiteboard, okay? Oftentimes, people like me with gnarly intros like the one just displayed can lead you to be schizophrenic. And oftentimes, I find myself teetering over here in the schizo area. Just kidding, guys. I'm not a schizophrenic. Sometimes I joke about it. Maybe I am. I don't know. Israel's evil. Whatever. But just like anything else, there's two sides of the scale, right? You have the schizos, and then you have the lukewarm, cortisol-spiked. Wow. Cortisol-spiked cowards. Wow, I cannot speak today. My cortisol is spiked right now, guys. So I'm sitting about right here right now. So guys, what is lukewarm, cortisol-spiked cowards? It's people that see the evils going on in the world and just completely ignore them. They're like, oh, my life is so perfect. I don't care. God's got it. God absolutely does have it. But I'll tell you what God wouldn't want. He wouldn't want you sitting like a coward on your couch, getting fat and being lazy, while your neighbors and your children are suffering from the consequences of your laziness. You coward. But God also doesn't want us to be doomers, where we just look at all the bad things and think about, oh man, we're so doomed, everyone's after me. Guys, listen, we have to find ourselves here in the middle ground, right? The middle ground with everything, left and right, wherever you are. This is independent thinkers, right? We can, one, acknowledge the evils of the world and identify evil while also enjoying the blessings that God has put before us, like the ability to wake up on this fine Wednesday and enjoy this beautiful weather. Don't let creators like me turn you into sad, scared, paranoid schizophrenics where you just think that Israel's behind everything and that the world is out to get you. Those two things might be true, but I'll tell you what's greater than both those things. The fact that God allowed us to breathe again today. So yeah, I guess I kind of butchered this like I always do. Whenever the cameras come out, I kind of suck. But find yourself in the middle. Don't be a lukewarm, cortisol-spiked coward, and don't be a schizophrenic. Be an independent, based human being. Anyways. So what's the true way to like revolutionize against a tyrannical government, more specifically the current tyrannical government? Well, you got to look at what they hate the most. They don't hate people that are financially independent. They just use them down the road. What they hate is people who can sustain their livelihoods without the help of the government, i.e. produce their own foods, harvest their own foods, get their own water. That's the people they hate. Ask any small farmer and they'll tell you that the government absolutely hates them. It's completely true. They want us to eat their Bill Gates magic mystery meats and their Culver's Wisconsin cheese curds, which are really, really good, rather than some just grass-fed beef off an actual farm or some sweet corn from my backyard. That's how you truly revolutionize against this government. It's by sustaining your own life. Part of that is being in shape. Another part of that is being an independent thinker. And another part of that is establishing your own family and building your knowledge and understanding of the world and ways to protect your family, your community, and yourself, more importantly. If you have to rely on big black cameras on the intersection to keep you and your family safe, then you're probably a coward. A man who trades freedom for safety deserves neither. Give me liberty or give me death. At the end of the day, it comes down to your preparedness and you're willing to confront danger when it comes around. So that's my soapbox. Let's go to Friday. Hold on, pause. Before we go to Friday, I just want to make this point real quick. Most of my comments I get in my videos are wonderful, supportive, great conversational topics. But I'll get a couple people coming and calling me a Looney Tune. And I just think it's crazy that I'm the weirdo, but not the people in the Epstein files or like the people doing all this demonic shit in the government. I'm the weirdo for talking about it, but they're not weird for like doing it. I don't know. I just think that's the most fascinating thing ever. The guy that's calling it all out and asking questions is the weirdo. He's the Looney Tune, not the people sacrificing and raping children. Make that make sense. Anyways, now I'll see you on Friday, okay?
I'm just a kid. I never use my brain. I only use my heart.
War is a Racket by Smedley Butler. A racket is best described, I believe, as something that is not what it seems to the majority of people. Only a small inside group knows what it is actually about. It is conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expenses of the very many. Out of war, a very few people make huge fortunes. How many of these war millionaires shouldered a rifle? How many of them dug a trench? How many of them knew what it meant to go hungry in a rat-infested dugout? How many of them spent sleepless, frightened nights ducking shells and shrapnel and machine gun fire? How many of them parried the bayonet thrust of an enemy? How many of them are wounded or killed in battle? Out of war, nations acquire additional territory if they are victorious. This newly acquired territory promptly is exploited by the few, the self-same few who wrung dollars out of blood and war. The general public shoulders the bill. And what is the bill, you may ask? The bill renders a horrible accounting. Newly placed gravestones, mangled bodies, shattered minds, broken hearts and homes, economic instability, depression, and all of its attendant miseries. Backbreaking taxation for generations and generations. These are words by Smedley Butler, one of the most decorated United States Marines ever. Two-time Medal of Honor recipient. Smedley Butler's an absolute G. And if there's any guy that you wouldn't expect to be anti-war, it'd probably be the guy that won 2 Medal of Honors. However, he wrote one of the most unbelievable pieces of literature when it comes to anti-war stuff, War is a Racket. I just got done reading it. It's only about 31 pages. Fascinating. Unbelievable. And this was back after World War I, prior to World War II. It's even more prevalent today with the current conflict in Iran. I heard Sean Ryan talking about this earlier when I was listening to something, but he talked about, you guys probably can't even read this, but he talked about human sacrifice, right? We all know that this is not a battle between flesh. This is a battle between good and evil. This is Satan currently trying to rebel against the dominion of God, right? Throughout human history, the devil has always sought human sacrifice. Now, this comes in many, many forms. Let me give you a left and a right side example of how our system tries to bunch us into either the left or the right. And at the end, it's the same result, human sacrifice. Let's look at it. Oftentimes, American patriotism is portrayed as the men who want to go and die in wars and honorably die and serve their country. I was a part of this. I joined the Marine Corps at 18, wanting to serve my country. Now I look back, glad of my service, proud of my service, proud of my fellow brothers and sisters that are serving, have served, and are going to serve. But I realize what it's actually about. It's not about dying for this community I currently live in or my neighbors next door. It's about dying for the rich bankers and industrialists who run our country, the oligarchs. Because oftentimes they'll throw out this quote that, oh, well, war's a good moneymaker. It absolutely is. Not for us. For the guys up top that we don't even know their names, it's a good profit for them, but not for us. Not for the people that have to bear the arms. Not for the people that have to send their kids to go die in these wars. Those people are not profiting off of this. Matter of fact, we're being weighed down by the debt induced by these wars. Our system is designed to sacrifice our people. Our system is designed, more and more so, to sacrifice life in the form of either dying in useless wars or people mutilating their own bodies and dismembering themselves. On the left, you're all about my life, my choice. Let's dismember me. Let's cut off my penis. Let's do all this weird stuff. On the right, we're so patriotic. Let's go serve in this war and fight Iran and for the sake of no nuclear weapons. They want us to pick a side. They want us over here or here. They want us to deny the fact that it's a spiritual battle of good and evil and take either the American patriotic side where I put on the uniform proudly and I go fight in wars that I have no clue what we're fighting for. Or I stay on the left and I go to the public education system and I learn that I'm not actually a girl or boy. I'm whatever I want to be. And I can cut off whatever I want to be because of that. And then in turn become depressed and take my own life. It's human sacrifice either way. There's no way around it. Let me read you another little paragraph that I just read from this book that I just thought was truly fascinating. Well, fascinating in a dystopian sense. Boys with a normal viewpoint were taken out of the fields and offices and factories and classrooms and put into the ranks. They were there remolded. They were made over. They were made to about face, to regard murder as the order of the day. They were put shoulder to shoulder, and through mass psychology, they were entirely changed. We used them for a couple of years and trained them to think nothing at all of killing or of being killed. Then suddenly we discharged them and told them to make another about face. This time they had to do their own readjusting. Now, I'm blessed. I'm lucky. I got out of the military. I got out of the Marine Corps. I have had a great community, great friends. I also didn't get to see any combat or anything that really deteriorated my mind. But I've had friends that have taken their lives. And I've known people who have had many people that have taken their lives. I've known people that have gone to combat. I had people that I was underneath that I'd seen things like the explosion in Kabul. I talked about it in my men's event last week, but 3 years ago, you could have told me to charge up a hill and murder a whole town, and I would have done it. Mass brainwashing is entirely possible. I've seen it through the military indoctrination process. But it's the same thing on a national scale. They want us in either of these sides, right? Go fight in these endless wars for nothing but the profits of the bankers and industrialists and politicians, or come over here, mutilate your own bodies, become incapable of independent thought. Either way, it's human sacrifice for the Satan-worshiping people who run our countries and our institutions. So with all that being said, I'm going to make a claim that I have been battling with making for quite some time. A lot of this YouTube channel, a lot of the audience that I currently have comes from my Marine Corps background. I inspired a lot of young men and women to join the Marine Corps, and I'm incredibly grateful for that, and I'm incredibly grateful for a majority of the messages I get, and I'm just grateful that I've had the ability to influence people to make a change in their life and to try something hard and to challenge themselves and to find direction. The Marine Corps gave me a lot. It gave me a direction unlike any other. It molded me into the man I am today. It gave me discipline. It gave me perspective on life that not too many get. When you have everything taken from you and you face hardships on a very normal basis, you start to realize how great life really is. Like we talked about, there's a lot of really bad things in the world, but God truly has blessed us. He has blessed me in many ways. And regardless of the evils that are going on around me, I will always be cognizant of the blessings which God has put before me. And because of that, I will be here until God takes me away, in whatever manner that may be. But more and more, I truly don't believe that joining the military is the way to go. I say this on a moral level. I think that it is a great way to set yourself up for success in the future, no doubt. But everything seems to be moving faster in today's world. The evils are starting to realize that we are starting to realize. And because of that, the evil powers are moving at a faster rate than before. They're not lollygagging like they used to be. We're seeing very frantic decisions being made by our government, and it's putting many people's lives on the line, especially those in uniform. And I look at service as still commendable. Because when I joined the Marine Corps, I didn't join it to serve the government. I joined it to serve my community, my family, and to serve my country that I love. And I know that's the mindset of 99.9% of the people that are in uniform. You don't join it because of Republicans or Democrats. You join it because you love your family or your community or your country. But it's so evident now that the interests in which we fight for are not for that of our communities, but for Satan, for the devil. So it's hard for me to say this because I inspired many people to join the Marine Corps, the military, but I ask you to check your morals and your values before doing so. It is still completely feasible to join the military and serve honorably and to maintain your values, but you have to make sure prior to that your values are in line, that your morality is centered on the principles laid by Christ. If you can ensure that your moral compass and your values will remain centered on Christ through thick and thin, then yes, join the military. My fear is that many people's moral compasses have been damaged by the institutionalization of our country prior to them joining the military. Thus, when the military tells people to pull triggers on people and blow people up, they will forget the moral compass that was established by God in our hearts. I guess I'm not telling you not to join the Marine Corps or the military, but what I'm gonna ask of you is to really ask yourself and to really see it through. Is there better, more effective ways to make change in this evil world other than that of just putting on the uniform? It's a big question. It's something I don't even know, truly. It's something that I don't even know entirely. That's why I'm here talking to you guys on this camera. But really think to yourself, beyond finances, beyond retirement benefits or VA benefits, free schooling, think about it on a moral level. When the call comes to do things that you don't agree with, are you going to be willing to stand on your ground? Oh, Isaac, you're so anti-American. No, I'm very American, but more so I'm a Christian. And I see the direction that our government is moving in, that our institutions are moving in, that our world leaders are moving in. And it is Satan realizing that we are recognizing his movements. And before we have the ability to combat them, he's trying to make his final moves. I tell everybody, I'm glad I didn't know what I know now 2 years ago, because it would have made putting on that uniform every single morning very, very hard. Not because of the men that wore it before me. The men who wore it before me were honorable. They served with the intention to serve their community, their families, their country. And when I say this, I'm not talking bad about the men who served before me and are still serving. I'm talking bad about the people up top, the men with suits and ties that have never shouldered a weapon, that have never slept in a ditch, that have never woke up at 04:30 to take on a 15, 20K hike with 80 pounds on their back. The men who never left their families at the ripe age of 18 to serve their country, to put their fleshly desires aside, to protect those they love. No, they never did that. But the men in uniform did. And forever they will be heroes. But the men in the suits, they're everything but a hero. They're the devil in disguise, in the flesh. Sorry guys, I'm talking a lot. Make your own assumptions. Don't take everything I say legitimately. You should be independent thinkers. I can't think for you. Anyways. All right, chat, we're back in the mirror. It's a staple. What are you doing in my room? You're not supposed to be in here. Anyways, I'm gonna share with you guys my book collection. So I've been trying to read more books of late, and so here's just a little bit of my collection. First and foremost, we have the Holy Bible. I have my Orthodox Study Bible, phenomenal Bible, great theology. Just, you know, the Bible front and center, always following up. We got the Wall Street and the Bolshevik Revolution. Just bought this, just started reading it. We got the good old handy dandy Rich Dad Poor Dad, phenomenal book. This is not political or theological at all. It's just kind of like, it's a really good money book, kind of teaches you how money actually operates. So I've read this like 3 times, but really good book. You already know we got the Constitution and Declaration of Independence. We also have Common Sense by Thomas Paine, phenomenal read. Good old 1984 by George Orwell. More people should read this currently because it is more prevalent than ever. Haven't read this one yet, but Churchill, Hitler, and the Unnecessary War by Patrick Buchanan. Really a big fan of Patrick Buchanan, kind of a boomer, but he's like pretty base too, so it's okay. I've talked about this book before, The Way of a Pilgrim, phenomenal book, really helped me grow in my faith. St. Augustine's Confessions, have not read this one yet. My buddy Brock gave it to me, but we'll be diving in relatively soon. We got The Death of the West by Patrick Buchanan. I mean, just one of the best books I've ever read. I mean, he was just spitting knowledge in this, and everything he talked about in 2000 has already happened. So, phenomenal read. Wish I would have read this way earlier. We got the Confederate Constitution because it's important to know your history and the other side of things, right? We also have Culture of Critique. This one is a little bit controversial. I've read a couple chapters out of it. I'm not going to go too far into that book. Got my old Marine Corps notebooks here with all the knowledge and acronyms and all that stuff. Even dirt from the field still in there. There's also another book. It's the history of the central banks. I don't currently have it. I gave it to one of my buddies. I'm going to put it right here. Really encourage you guys to read this book. It is eye-opening, to say the least. It's a phenomenal book. And then, of course, War's a Racket, which I just read today. So phenomenal pieces of literature. Guys, I truly think that reading is more important than ever. Reading is not something that I have ever enjoyed. I was not a big reader, but with the influx of information and how easy it is for AI and for media to manipulate information, it's important to read from primary sources, books written decades and decades ago. That's how you get actual information now, because everything else is fake. So I had another talking point I was going to hit, and I was going to talk about a lot of the more evil things going on in the world and how they all come back to God, how everything is just, Satan acting in rebellion to God. That's really the emphasis of all things, good versus evil. But like, it does me no good to talk anymore about the things that we're already completely cognizant of. We are well aware that our world is run by evil powers. This is told in scripture. This is very clear. I don't want to be a shadow for the people watching this, to where they just think that the world is dark. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the mercy that God has bestowed upon me and you to wake up today, even though we are sinners, is far greater a blessing and event than any inconvenience or move the devil could ever make. I just want to leave this by saying that I am so incredibly grateful for the life that I have been blessed with. I talk a lot about these things, and some people say, well, look at the life you get to live. You're absolutely right. I live a fantastic life. I have amazing people in my life. I have an amazing family. I have my own house. I have my own platform. I have my own job. I have all this stuff. I am beyond grateful. But I do all this stuff, I say all this stuff because I'm in a position where I can afford to be a leader and a positive for the future generations. Because like I said before, down the road I'm gonna have kids. And I'll be damned if I have to look at my kids in the eyes and tell them that their dad did nothing to try to fix the world they're living in. Because inflation is gonna keep going up. Houses are gonna become more unaffordable. The education system is gonna become more screwed. The wars are gonna get more and more deadly. The world is gonna get more and more confusing. And I want to at least be able to tell my kids that their dad tried his absolute best to make this world a better place in accordance with the principles that God put before him. Will I be able to change everything? Probably not. Will me and you be able to change everything? Probably not. Will this platform be able to change everything? Maybe not. It's ultimately up to God. But I know one thing, and that's that Christ did not command us to sit and idle in sin. True love is not looking at someone in the eye as they're doing wrong and telling them that you love them and giving them a hug. True love is standing for what is right and correcting those when they're wrong. Guys, we have to be leaders in our households, more importantly than anything, in our communities, for our neighbors, for our streets. And from there, we'll create a network of like-minded men and individuals who are willing to step outside of their door and confront evil face to face. I love you guys. Don't ever take anything as I say as law. The only law is the law established by God that was put in our hearts and in our scriptures that we read, and in the church established by Christ. I love you guys. God bless you. Dave's fault.